Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, I thought I'd come on here on this Saturday. It's about 7:09. I gotta get ready in a little bit because I gotta go to work for 4 hours. A week from now, I won't be here at this time because I'll be at my job because I had to rearrange my schedule because I'm gonna be going and spending that Saturday. Me and my family are gonna be spending that Saturday later on visiting my grandma in the Bay Area. So I have to next week rearrange things so that I'll be working or at least being at my job around this time and probably working until at least a half hour before noon. So apologize for that. So yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be doing. But as of right now, I'm still okay with hours. Um, I'm still doing my regular hour, I should say, for Saturday. But I thought I'd come on here because, as I've talked about before, a lot of people have talked about Avengers and pretty much everybody's done spoilers, talked about, what has happened, given their theories of who's going to be back, who's not going to be back. Even I've talked about it, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, even I've talked about it, and and basically asked the question of how will the ending of Infinity War, affect Ant-Man and Wasp and Venom, which are the next Marvel movies. And here's the one thing that I've basically pieced together just listening to what comic book cast have had to say, and other comic book cast have had to say, and others like IGN and a few other people like Looper and all them, Linkara, Channel Awesome, Doug Walker, whether you like him or you don't, Angry Joe, all of them have had to say about it. Chris Stuckman, all of them, and and the way I look at, because the way I look at it is like this. Honestly, everything that the Russos, Feige over at Marvel and in charge of these movies, you know, everything that Kevin Feige at Marvel Studios and the Russos working on the movies have been saying about, like, oh, this is how things work, this is what's going on. Some of it might be true. Like, there was a report that one of the Russo brothers uh, went and met with some kids at an, I think it was an elementary or middle school, something like that. And I guess since it's elementary school and a lot of these kids like these heroes, like I said, it's probably elementary, middle school, something like that. He basically answered a question fans were wondering about with one of the Guardians that had died before the ending. And he confirmed that this Guardian is indeed in the Soul Stone. And if this Guardian is in the Soul Stone, one has to wonder, you know, what is it doing to her? Well, one of the Russos gave an explanation that this is how Thanos was able to meet up with the younger version of this character and everything. So there is a guess going around that this character, which I'm pretty sure you've guessed by now is Gomorrah, um, her spirit is in the Soul Stone. And Thanos, I guess, having power over it, shapes that spirit into whatever he wants it to be. Or at least that's what we're thinking. But here's the thing. I think some people were talking about the fact that this young version of Gamora kind of asked him something at the end if it was worth it or something. So you got to think maybe that's going to play a factor in the fourth movie. And there's a lot of speculation. Mark Ruffalo came out a couple months ago, kind of basically spoiled what Avengers 4's plot was going to involve. Basically, time travel, and we kind of see with the set photos and everything that that's probably the case. Um, I look at it like this. I look at it like this with all these set photos and speculations and them giving hints here and there. I will say this one thing that Comic Book Cast did say in one of the recent podcasts. Um, they basically indicated that the Russos and Kevin Feige were all, or Feige, were all being secretive. Like okay, some people like the actors or the actresses might let something slip here and there, but I think you got to understand from their perspective, they understand from the viewer's perspective that we want to make sure everything's going to be okay in the end. It's like, okay, we know Spider-Man 2 is coming. We know Guardians 3 is coming. We know Black Panther 2 is coming. We want to make sure that the characters we get in here are the same characters. We want, I mean, a reaffirmation of it. Uh, we want some kind of like reassurance, and I think that's why certain people, um, certain actors and actresses, I should say, come out and they drop hints, maybe a bit of spoilers as to what's to come. But besides all that, excuse me there. But besides all that, I look at the fact that we're not getting the whole truth. We're not. I look at the fact that all the speculation that the people at the CBC2, all the speculation that anybody could have that's reviewed this movie, done spoilers on this movie, um, I think with everything, even I have talked about the Russos, they're not telling us everything. They're not. I mean, they'll say things here and there, like, one Russo will maybe confirm, okay, this is where Gamora is, so pretty much it confirms there's a chance she'll be back, which debunks what the comic book cast talked about. Like, one of the recent videos of they did just about like moments ago. Right now it's about 7:17 a.m. Pacific time. One of the videos they uploaded just moments ago, they talked about who's coming back and who's not, due to their death, um, in Infinity War. And obviously they got Gamora, and obviously it looks like right now that they got Gamora wrong. They do because she's, from what some people have speculated and said, she is signed on for the next Guardians movie. So you can't just kill this character off in an Avengers movie. If you're going to kill her off, a lot of people are saying that the way Marvel would do it and the way these people behind these movies would do it is have her killed off in the movie where she made a name for herself, where she became noticed, where she became a huge celebrity, if you will, a household name. That's where she would be killed off, and I have to agree with that. So I think with them dropping that hint, in my opinion, in that one of the Russos dropping that little hint or that little spoiler, kind of gives us an idea that she is going to be back. She might have a new look, for all we know, because you look at Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, you take a look at the Guardians cartoon, or at least not the Guardians cartoon, but one of the Avenger cartoons that she appeared in, and she has a look that's different. So she might have a look identical, if not similar to that, maybe. But again, I don't think the Russo brothers are telling us everything. They're not. Kevin Feige is not telling us everything. The Russos aren't telling us everything. You know, and I'm guaranteeing you, they probably have had talks with the actors and actresses to say, don't say a damn word. Excuse my language, God. But they're probably telling them, don't say a damn word or spill anything anymore because these people, because you can't tell me they don't know that comic book fans and movie enthusiasts aren't catching on to that have been following the MCU since the beginning, aren't catching on to the fact that, oh, okay, we pretty much have the idea now of what's going to happen next. You can't tell me they don't know that and realize that, and they don't know and realize that because they do. That's why at times, like with Infinity War, they try to shock and surprise you with things like what happened at the end and all that. So to me, they're doing their very best to not really let anything slip about Avengers 4. They're not letting anything slip about what could be the official title. They're not letting anything slip as to, how things are going to go, where, how things are going to play, basically how certain things are going to come into play, certain characters and all that. They're not letting much slip. However, the one thing I'm sure they're aware of is people have been showcasing set photos, and as and that by showcasing these set photos, they're pretty much getting an idea, maybe not a clear idea, but they're getting a bit of an idea of what's to come, of how the story's going to play out, and by seeing these set photos and then basically in a sense connecting that to what Mark Ruffalo said a couple months ago, they're kind of realizing, oh, so this is what you're going to do with Avengers 4. You're going to center around, this is going to be a plot, this is going to be your DX Machina, if you will. This is going to be your MacGuffin that, gets you out of this situation. And, again, people can speculate, like comic book cast can speculate that certain things will not happen because Doctor Strange won't let it happen. Here's what you got to remember. Here's what you got to remember. The scene in the movie, and again, I haven't seen it, but this is just from what I've heard people say. The scene in the movie where he sees all these multiple eh, futures that have these different outcomes. He sees one that basically guarantees they're going to win. So he sees this one outcome that guarantees they're going to win, and he goes with it. He goes with that outcome. And by going with that outcome, if you will, he allows Thanos to reshape reality, or at least, well, not reshape reality, but destroy half the universe as we know it. So, if Doctor Strange sees that being the only logical outcome, then obviously Doctor Strange is probably going to see that I mean, because we don't really know as much, how far into that future outcome that Doctor Strange sees as being the only outcome that they win, how far he sees into it, of how it comes to be, how everything ties together to make sure they win. We don't know that. So all we could do, as a lot of us have been doing, is speculate. And the best speculation is he probably sees the fact that, you know, Captain Marvel's going to be involved, Ant-Man and Wasp are going to be involved. He sees probably things that we don't know yet, that we're just speculating on, and how they're all going to play a role in this game, in this situation. But obviously, Doctor Strange does probably see probably does see in this inevitable only outcome that's going to allow him to win the fact that characters like Gamora and probably Loki will be brought back from the dead. Because again, I think one person said it best. You can't have a character like Gamora or Loki die in movies that, yeah, they were major parts of, um, all the way, from beginning to end, but mainly were mainly mainstays, if you will, um, in their movies. So to me, I think Doctor Strange would probably allow something like Gamora and Loki to come back, and maybe even Vision come back because their deaths shouldn't have been. Their death never should have been, in a sense. And um, again, I think those characters are going to come back. Some can speculate that they won't, but if you're going to have time travel involved, then yeah, this is pretty much a good idea that they're going to come back. For example, there is time travel involved. You can't tell me that they won't confront Loki of the past and say, and maybe even through some magic or power with the time stone or whatever it is, show him what's going to happen to him at when he hands Thanos the stone. You can't tell me they're not going to do that because they might, and he might be like, you know what? I'm not going to give him the stone. Here, you have the stone. And that way he stays alive. Him handing the stone over to them, the Tesseract, if you will, to them, he doesn't die. He stays alive. The point I'm getting at is all the if this involves time travel, which obviously from one understanding it might, characters are going to come back. There's going to be situations where they're going to probably pop into these other moments, get the stones when they need them, and certain characters are going to stay alive. Gamora's going to stay alive, and by I guess them going into the Guardians past, they will get the stone from them, and what happens to her on Titan gets reversed, and she gets popped out of the Soul Stone or something like that. The point is, the point I'm getting at is the Russos and Kevin Feige, the Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, they're not gonna tell. They're not. They're gonna probably throw little hints here and there. But when they come out and say, "Hey, this is gonna be unlike what you've seen before, or not what you think," or they're gonna say this or that, to me, I've read comics long enough, either the Sonic, superhero comics, whatever. I've grown up in a time to where pretty much when you say, "Oh, you try to throw people off and all that," pretty much people are going to, especially nowadays, put all the pieces together and they're going to figure out exactly what's going to happen. So to me, what they're trying to do, I will give them credit. They're trying to throw us off. They're trying to make us not think this is going to happen, and it may not. But in a sense, they're trying to keep things very secretive, and I give them credit for that. But we live in a day and age now to where things are not as secretive as they can be. I mean, you can keep them as secret as you want to all the way to the release of the film, and that's great, and you can surprise people. I mean, the appearance of the Red Skull in the Soul Stone, from what I understand, it was a huge surprise to a lot of people, even though it was a different actor and not Hugo Weaving. So that was a huge surprise. I'll give him that. But just because you could do keep things secretive to a point to where even if people figure out what's going to happen, even if they can tell, okay, this character might suffer something, or this character is probably going to go, or this character is going, whatever. Even if you can, even if fans, because what I'm saying is, even if fans are able to figure out all that, you know, I give credit where credit is due. You're trying to keep things secretive because you don't want people to be spoiled until they see it. Which is why when the movie was coming out, Disney and Marvel Studios basically respectfully asked, "Hey, don't spoil this thing if you go and see it at these special screenings before its official release." Because they want people to be surprised. and that's a fact. That is a true fact. Um, but to me, honestly, excuse me for a sec. Sorry, my alarm on my Kindle went off. But to me, honestly, I think I look at it this way. We got about a year. We got about 363 days until the next one. And all I'm going to say is this. I'll give the Russos credit. They're trying to keep things secretive and under the radar. But I guarantee as this year goes on and on and on, and then we have the release of Ant-Man, and then we get close to Captain Marvel and all that, and maybe even with Venom, we're going to get more people coming out. We're going to have more people, more anonymous sources, unknown sources, reliable sources, whatever you want to call them, coming out with photo sets, coming out with information, leaked information, whatever it may be. And I can almost guarantee that before we get the very first trailer or teaser trailer for Avengers 4, we will already know what we, and it may be on their part, they may give us the title anyway, but we'll probably already have an idea of what the official title will be. And most of all, we'll probably already have an idea of what the outcome's going to be like and who's going to come back. Pretty much that's going to be it. Actually, it's three. We'll finally get we'll probably know already what the title's going to be, what the outcome's going to be, and who's going to be back. And you got to remember this. This is Disney. Disney owns Marvel Studios. You can't tell me that Disney will not allow something like what happened at the end of Infinity War, what happened to Gamora, and what happened to Loki occur without some kind of resolution in the upcoming sequel, and that resolution is all those characters coming back. Can't tell me that Disney's not going to want to see that happen because they are. Because Disney, besides Marvel, makes money off that. Disney's the main ones that make the most money, not Marvel. And Marvel is a Disney property. So, again, I give the Russos credit. I give Kevin Feige credit. They're trying their best to keep everything a secret. But like I said, as time goes on through the rest of this year, we're gonna get more information. We're gonna find out more of what the plot's gonna be like, who's gonna come back, and we're gonna probably find out the working title almost all before we get the first teaser trailer. I I can almost guarantee that's gonna happen. And when I say almost and the reason I say almost is because with the Russos, with Marvel, and even Disney, once you can't tell me that once word gets out that people are starting to put the pieces together as to what's going to happen, of how the plot's going to come about. You can't tell me that they're not going to want to scramble and try to shut all those speculations down, shut all those sources down, shut all that down, just so they could keep it more secretive, or try to keep it as secretive as they want to until it's released. You can't tell me that they're not going to want to do that, because honestly, they are. They are going to want to do that. So that's why I say almost guarantee that before we get the first teaser, we'll know what the plot is, we'll know who's coming back, and we'll know what the outcome is, we'll know who's coming back, and we'll know what the title is. And if not, if you want to add a fourth, then we'll know what the plot is, if not already. So again, give credit where it's due. Russo brothers are trying to keep things secretive, but in all honesty, they're gonna have to try a lot. I think they know, as well as I and anybody else watching, that they're gonna have to try even harder this year than they've ever tried before. That's all I'm gonna say because I think this year will be the year that unless they don't really push to keep photos from set photos from leaking, information from leaking, whatever, this will be the year that pretty much everybody's gonna know exactly what the outcome, the plot, what the outcome, who's coming back, who's coming back, and basically what the official title of the movie is going to be. So if I'm the Russos, I do whatever I can to keep things so secretive that nobody for the rest of the year gets to gets to post set photos, gets to leak information. I make sure I do my very best to guard against all this or try to prevent all this because they should know in today's world that people can just need a few bits of information, maybe visual pieces as well, to put all the pieces of that puzzle together to figure out exactly what's in store. So that's just my thoughts on it. That's just my thoughts on the Russo brothers trying to keep things secretive with Avengers 4. But again, I think the one thing we have to consider, and people seem to keep forgetting this, is Marvel Studios is owned by Disney. They can be able to do their own thing, but Disney at times has the overall final say. And Disney's the ones that make the main money out of this. So they're probably so you got to think of it this way. They probably allowed what happened at the end of Infinity War and during it to happen only if the resolution in the fourth one is if everybody comes back. So that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good Cinco de Mayo Saturday.